All right, here we go. It is our Game of Thrones episode 3 from season 7 recap. The season is going at a breakneck pace, and Ryan, I think that does have some people a little bit concerned at just how quickly they're trying to connect the dots here.
Yeah, we're trying to connect a lot of dots, and I don't think some of our beloved characters are going to make it through any more episodes. Go ahead, do you?
It's an idle hands.
It's in idle hands.
Yes. No, but your point is right. I mean, we're definitely going to be losing some characters. Although one character that you may have thought was going to die, it looks like he has gotten a fresh lease on life, and that would be Jorah Mormont, who was able to get his grayscale fixed. Do you think he got it fixed a little too quick? Like that looked like a death sentence. Next thing you know, Samwell reads a book for like half a day, and he's like, "Yeah, I can fix this."
Yeah, it was one of those things where they're like, well, this is a very dangerous procedure, and this is a very intricate procedure, and the procedure was cut it off, put some Vaseline on it, you're good. Like, I know modern medicine, we live in the age of science, and modern medicine is what it is, but I don't think that seemed like a very involved process other than like cut it off.
Rip it off. It's painful. It's going to be really painful. But if the choice is it's going to be super painful or you're just going to turn into a stone man and die, I think you would opt with the painful Vaseline or Neosporin route after that. So, yeah, that's a little odd. What do you make of Euron Greyjoy at this point? As he was able to bring a gift, if you will, a couple of the sand snakes. He also got was it Yura Greyjoy? They're able to get her as well. He's kicking ass right now. I think that all of a sudden that Greyjoy fleet is much more impressive than I think we ever would have thought.
Yeah, and he kind of came out of nowhere. So I think Shark talked about it on the episode too. Like the Iron Islands aren't that big, so where have they been hiding all of these ships? First of all, I thought the gift and the subsequent payoff there was a little predictable. I was, and Cersei even mentioned it, I was hoping that someone was going to get their head squished like a grape. Because that's a great effect and just like great playing with sound effects and stuff. But as far as Jorah Mormont goes, I mean, not Jorah Mormont, Greyjoy. I think
Euron, Euron
Greyjoy. I think he's got some tricks up his sleeve too, and it's not going to be good for anyone who crosses him.
Well, and it's funny, and like Cersei, she was obviously able to get her hands on the sand snakes, including the main sand snake who killed her daughter with the poison, and she gave her a little "what's good for the goose is good for the gander." And I'll tell you that Cersei, obviously a villain, but this is one of those scenarios, much like when she was getting the walk of shame routine, where you felt bad for her then. Not that I feel bad for her now, but I think that was just sweet justice. I think if that was any other character, you would have been thrilled. Like, good. Like, her daughter, say what you want about Cersei, but her daughter didn't deserve to die like that.
That's true. And what's interesting, we'll talk about the end of the episode a little bit, but remind me to circle back to this about Cersei's daughter dying at the hands of the sand snakes, and I'll circle back on that when we come back to the end of the episode. But yeah, I mean, Cersei, for as much as everyone hates her, she has those fleeting moments where she's like a sympathetic character. You actually feel for her, but then she goes from that scene right into some good old sibling humping. So
she went right down at it.
Like right at it.
She sure did.
She almost slipped a finger in his bum.
Hard to say. They kind of cut out, which was, I think, a shame. I don't think
you get that past the censors there.
No. Now Nicole, who did the last episode recap, she gave me a few of her ideas as well for this week, and one of them I thought was pretty fascinating. She says she's a little worried about Tyrion. She says that this whole Casterly Rock seems like a huge misstep, and you wonder if now is Dany going to start to take the Red Woman's advice now instead of Tyrion's, who is like a master strategist, but right now they're losing a lot of the battles.
They are. It's going to be a long one, and I'm wondering how long it's going to be before Daenerys just bails on the whole Seven Kingdoms thing, because John made a pretty good point saying, you're going to be, or was it the Onion Knight there, so that you're just going to be rolling over a graveyard. Like, this is pointless. Like, us talking about this is pointless. Like, you need to come north with me and you need to get this done. The Red Lady has since left, right?
Yeah.
But she's going to come back.
Yeah, because she didn't want to see Jon Snow in Davos, obviously, because those guys, they're like, if we see you again, we'll kill you. So he shows up. I like the back and forth though with Varys. I think that there's something fascinating going on with those two characters.
But talking about Tyrion, though, I think one of the things, Littlefinger, Tyrion, and Varys are just guys who just can't get killed like ever. I don't know how, like they just keep sneaking away, but they just can't get killed.
I feel like Littlefinger is eventually going to get his comeuppance, but again, last week Nicole asked, "Do I think he's going to die soon?" I'm like, no, he's found a way to avoid it, and like a lot of people want to kill him, especially those who know him, but he seems to be able to skirt by.
Yeah, like him and Theon. Like when is Theon just going to die?
He is a pussy. He's a coward. People were all over him on Twitter too when he bailed on her a couple of weeks ago. What about Bran Stark? We get more Bran. Also, what I found fascinating about Bran Stark is this show had a lot of like kid or like teenager actors, and they all look kind of similar still. Whereas Bran, like overnight, turned into from like an 8-year-old to like a guy with like a deep voice and like a sneaky almost mustache. Like,
well, it's funny. It's like
this guy.
The guy who played Hodor was like, one of the reasons he was fine with getting axed off the show is he didn't have to carry Bran Stark anymore. He's like the kid grew like 6 inches and gained like 50 pounds in a season. Like I just got sick of carrying him. But I think a lot, I think Bran's too far gone now. Like I think he's into this three-eyed raven thing, and I think he's not like, he doesn't see the world. He's like a Dr. Manhattan kind of, like he doesn't see the world like you see it anymore.
No, it's a good point. And he's sort of a dickhead too. Like he brings it. He's like, "Hey Sansa, like sorry about like your wedding night or whatever and your white dress." I'm like, "Oh my god, dude, leave it alone." Like he's just
I think that was his way of telling her like I was there. Like I wasn't there, but I saw it. Like I've seen everything that's been going on. And when you take all that on, I mean, maybe you just kind of go numb to, or just like get desensitized to everything that's going on. If you take it all in at once.
That's true.
And he's the only one who knows who Jon is.
Yes, he knows who Jon's parents are. Yeah, like and he's gonna have to share that information. The way the season is going though, like he may find out next week. Like they're rip roaring through this whole thing, which I can sort of see why people are a little upset with that, because it was not that it wasn't like Walking Dead slow pace, but the first 6 seasons were kind of telling you a story, and you realize just how big the world was, because all right, if somebody from one part of the map wants to visit somebody else, they weren't going to see them like that quick. No. Whereas this episode, they end episode 2. Jon Snow gets a raven. They're like, "Hey, come on down to Dragonstone." Then episode 3 opens up, and he's like, "Hey, what's up? I'm in Dragonstone." And you're like, "What is this?"
Yeah, it's like on the other side of the world. Like, how did you get there?
So what doesn't make sense is it took him, however long it took him, he got from Winterfell to Dragonstone, and yet Arya hasn't even made it to Winterfell yet.
I think she turned around. She's not going to Winterfell. That's what I don't think she's going there.
Is she going back to King's Landing, you think?
Going back to King's Landing, do her thing. Oh. That's my theory. After the whole thing with Nymeria, she's just like, that's not you.
Yeah.
Meaning like you can't be my pet anymore, and I can't go and be what I was.
True. No, that's a good point. So maybe that'd be good. I mean, I'm sure next episode we'll find out. What about Daenerys? I think one of the great conspiracy theories is that maybe she's going to become the Mad Queen, and maybe I'm just reading into it too much, but I felt like we were getting some elements of that this episode.
Yeah, and there's that whole like you could tell there was a little bit of Jon, like, who the fuck are you? Like, I've been doing this, and you just, what's it been, like a year or two, and all of a sudden you're, I'm sorry all these bad things happen to you, but you're not like king shit yet.
I thought they had they had a great pissing match between the two of them, and she's like, "Well, the Starks said that they were always going to serve the Targaryens." He's like, "Yeah, your dad killed my grandfather and my uncle." And she's like, "Well, I'm not my dad." He's like, "Well, I'm okay. Like I didn't give the oath. I'm not my great grandfather." Yeah. So
I was waiting for him to say also that like when she's like, "Well, the Starks pledged blah blah blah," and he's like, "I'm not a Stark. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like I don't have to do. Like I'm not a Stark." He's
like, "Actually, I'm your nephew." So,
or I mean, not only that, but like even if he thinks he's Ned Stark's bastard, so that doesn't make him part of that family because his last name is Snow. You know what I mean? So like even if he doesn't believe that, he's just like, the Starks might have promised you anything, but I'm not a Stark. So what up now?
Yeah, no, that's
you got
true.
nothing. Yeah,
That's true. But it does seem like they're gonna help him out a little bit in the North.
in perpetuity. In perpetuity.
In perpetuity. I
Got a
know.
little grammar lesson there too, so that was nice.
Yeah, we did. I think we're learning a lot this season. But again, I like it, but it's definitely not without its flaws, I feel like. And at this point, I think people are so blind to, hey, it's Game of Thrones. And then you follow it on Twitter, and it's like, this is the greatest show ever, and it's only going to get better, and this is amazing. But I don't know. I think we need to pump the brakes just a little bit. Like, there's things I think you can start to poke holes in a little bit.
Sure. So if we have, 7 episodes?
Yeah, that's 3.
So that's 3. So the next one's in the middle. So maybe the middle is going to be like a reset where they're like, okay, let's just take a breath for a second. Let's just kind of see what's going on around, see who's where. And the Lannisters are kicking ass right now. So
they are kicking ass. And I guess the answer, and I was talking with some other people about this too, because that was my big takeaway was, well, at the end of season 6, it looked like Daenerys' squad was ridiculous. They had the Unsullied. They had the all called Drogo's old dudes. They had dragons. They had the brains of Tyrion and Varys, and they're getting worked on. But I guess part of the reason is they didn't want to just go and kill everybody in King's Landing. Like, they wanted people to rule, and they keep making a point of that. Like, hey, if you wanted to take it, you could have taken it, but you haven't yet because you want there to be survivors, which makes sense.
And the Dothraki have not done anything yet. So you forget that she still has them. Like, you see, the Unsullied kind of gets broken away. And the Dothraki are kind of still at Dragonstone. You haven't seen them yet. So hopefully they're going to come up swinging,
All right, you wanted to touch on the Cersei's daughter getting killed.
Yeah, so when you go to the end with old lady Tyrell.
By the way, good call. Bring up, good.
Yeah. So that was an awesome scene. I'm sad to see her go because I really liked her as a character. But bringing that back around, the whole thing with the Dornish and the whole thing with the Lannisters, none of that, and like the Sands, like none of that happens if what's her Oleanda, something like that, the old lady Tyrell. None of that happens if she doesn't poison Joffrey. Right. Nothing goes down. So she kicked off all of that with Oberyn getting his head with Tyrion going in front and getting proven guilty.
Well, it was her and Littlefinger, right? Like those were the two that orchestrated that whole thing.
But she was like kind of the brains behind, and she said, "I wouldn't let you." So, but that whole thing kicked to Tyrion going to trial by combat, Oberyn dying. Now the Sands have a grudge against the Lannisters, so none of that happens without the Tyrells. So that's kind of a nice little bow to put on that. You know what I mean?
And so Cersei was under the impression that Tyrion killed Joffrey, but I forget what Jaime thought, because didn't Jaime, he like freed Tyrion, and even though that's what everybody was saying, and that's what the whole issue became, the whole trial by combat and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But I don't think Jaime really thought that was the case, because Tyrion was like, no, and I think Jaime didn't believe it. But at least now he knows for sure who did it. Although he doesn't know about the Littlefinger angle, but he knows that old lady Tyrell was behind it. And that was a gangster way to die too.
Yeah, like, you know what, this does me no good, and this is the only leverage I had, and here you go, I'm done. So like it, and it was a nice little knife twist. Yeah, just a little FU from the Tyrells to the.
So now that she's gone, Tyrell to the Lannisters. Now that she's gone, who do you think's the next prominent character to die? If you had to take a stab.
If I had to take a stab,
it's tough.
It's tough. I mean, because everyone's fair game. I mean, we've seen how attached were you to Ned and Robb Stark, so it's. It's tough. I mean, I can't. Maybe Grey Worm.
Yeah, because it looks like he's going to get into some shit. Actually, that's a really good guess, because he just had that love scene,
right? And
so usually that's the curse. It's like when you really start to learn something about a character, boom, they kill him.
If we learn anything from horror movies, it's like you start, the Unsullied starts getting a little freaky. That's when things start to go poorly for you.
You cannot have sex.
No, even if it's mouth stuff or scissoring, like. You can't do that.
What do you think he was? What do you think he was up to there? Just kind of.
See if he can get an echo. I don't know, maybe.
God bless him.
Yeah, God bless him. Those crazy kids.
I think that's a good guess, though. I think that's not bad. What else do we got? Anything else here? Oh, they brought up too the point about Nicole mentions this. Jon Snow and Davos almost let it slip that he like almost died, or he did die.
Yeah,
and then he kind of stops himself short, and Daenerys is just like, what? Like, what are you talking about? So that's probably going to come back at some point.
At some point, yeah. And there's that whole theory that he's actually a White Walker. He just doesn't know it.
Wait. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Can I just plug your mind live on air? Yeah.
I don't know. Wait, I don't remember any of this.
Like, what's the guy, the Coldfinger or whatever, his uncle, who's like out in the woods?
Oh yeah,
they met him once.
Oh yeah, he's scary.
Old something. Yeah, but like he's like one. He's like him. Benjen.
Benjen Stark, right?
Yeah.
Wait, so who do you think the Night King is or was?
I don't know.
Do you think he could be the Mad King, or do you think it's somebody even way older than that?
It's got to be somebody older, right? Because I think the last time they were around was like 100 or 1,000 years ago, or something like that.
Yeah,
it's a number. There's a number there that they put on. It hasn't happened in so many years. It's so long that people don't think it's real. They think it's a story.
Right. Yeah.
So you never know.
Shit is about to get really real, though. I mean, we're waiting for the winter is here. And all
they got their dragon glass for now.
Dragon glass,
and you still got 3 dragons.
Dragon stone.
You still got 3 dragons, so you're happy. You're a happy guy.
I'm pumped about it, but they're even saying like they can kill them. They're gonna kill one of them.
They're going down.
I just feel it. Next episode,
one of them's going down. Well, at least one. At least one.
Although, but don't you want to see the scene with Daenerys flying one, Tyrion flying one, and Jon Snow flying one? I think we all do. I don't think
that's ever gonna happen.
No, maybe not.
And I'm guessing you're gonna get more Clegane.
Yeah, we gotta get Clegane. Well. They gotta set up Hound versus Mountain Clegane Bowl at some point.
At some point, maybe that comes at the end, the last season. But I don't know if you're gonna get it this season.
All right, you got any final thoughts on this?
It's still a wonderful, wonderful program.
I like the program. I'm poking holes in it, but I like the program.
Well, I think that's the. I was reading an article today about how like that subculture and that the fan theories is what's keeping this going. So take notes, showrunners out there. If you want a successful show, keep us guessing.
That's true.
People want to talk about it.
But I think it's what also makes it great. Like we're this passionate about this show, whether or not it's the best or not. But so it's been good. Episode 4. We'll keep doing the recaps. People I think are watching. We're getting some feedback on them. So if you missed episode 1 or episode 2, check it out in the little our YouTube channel here. You can check out our most recent episode of the #DORK podcast, where we're talking about Christopher Nolan movies, which was a great episode. There's a lot of good stuff in there, and I'm sure we'll be back sometime next week to recap episode 4. So leave us a comment or a question in the section there. You can like. People tell you to like that. You don't have to like it. I don't give a shit. You can do it.
You don't have to like it. Just hit the like button. I mean, that's how you don't have to like it, but just hit the like button.
I didn't think of that.
Favor.
I just like instinctively said to do that. Like I don't even care if you do it, but that's what people. Every YouTube video I've ever watched, they're like, make sure you pound the like button. Pound that like button. Like,
well, that's how I think that's like our 5-star review in iTunes. I think that's how they do it. The more likes, the more views you get. So that's their rubric. But who knows? I don't know. The whole thing is above my pay grade.
I don't know.
Everything's above my pay grade since paid, so
no, everything above that would be more. So
I have 0 security clearance because I'm on the null pay scale. So
well, we're trying to rectify that. If you'd like to sponsor the podcast, give us a buzz.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
if you'd like to pay, we can promote your product, and trust me, we will get behind your product no matter what it is.
Absolutely, like my new hat, like Bernie's Beach Bar.
That's a free one.
That's a free one from Hampton Beach. The beautiful Hampton Beach, Bernie's Beach Bar.
Nice.
They got some big musical acts coming through there. And the owner's a friend.
Oh.
Find yourself in Hampton Beach. Check out Bernie's Beach Bar.
All right. See? Look at that. And you're kind of thinking about going, aren't you? So that's
free advertising.
That's pretty good.
Yep. Tell him Davey sent you.
All right, Davey. Thank you very much. Check out Davey on the Twitter and the Twitch at @RVonD. You can check us out at Dork Podcast on the Twitter. So we will
get that going in a second. Who knows?
I think we could Twitch in a minute. Are you playing Overwatch now?
Not yet. We'll see. All
right. I might get on there.
All right.
I got to upload this, and then I might get on there.
I might do this, and then the thing. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. I'll talk to you.
All right.